Hello everybody, this is Spirited Senior here. I'm going to bring you a video. Now, it's an older video, it's from 2018, but it's still relevant today because the same stuff is still going on. And why do we turn a blind eye to this stuff? This is from Ezra Levant from Rebel Media, and I want to show you that if you decide to vote Liberal, you're just going to get more of the same, a lot more of the same. And these people commit crimes in our country, are let go because of religious beliefs. That's a little insane, you know. Will we allow a Christian to beat somebody and say, oh, it's their religious belief? It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's real bullshit. You know, and we're, by the way, we're all feminists here. I thought you believed in the power of the female and the woman. Obviously you don't. Because you guys are buddy-buddy with these people. I'm not going to say that what they are, because I'll lose this video altogether. Because we no longer have what we used to call free speech around here. We are being censored constantly. Constantly censored. And so I want to bring this. I want you to rethink your vote. And honest to God, think about what you are voting for. It's a choice. You want to live in a free country or you want some more of the same, because it's only going to get worse. Anyways, here's the video.
Here's a story out of Fredericton, New Brunswick. This report is from a newspaper there called the Daily Gleaner. I'm going to take you through it because it's fascinating and bizarre. It's about two of Trudeau's Syrian refugees, and I say those words with air quotes, Syrian refugees, because almost none of Trudeau's Syrian refugees actually came from Syria. They had already left Syria, in some cases many years earlier, and had already found refuge in Jordan, Turkey, or Lebanon. So they were not actually from Syria anymore, and they were not actually refugees anymore. But that's fine. Justin Trudeau is for open borders and mass unvetted Muslim migration, unvetted in any meaningful way, not even for basic skills like speaking English or French or having any useful job skills or education, or of course, cultural skills, by which I mean understanding that in Canada, we don't beat our wives. Here's the CBSA program branch vice president, Martin Bolduc, basically the senior officer in charge of these refugees, testifying to Parliament a couple years back about the source of these Syrian migrants, just in case you doubt me.
Most of the 21,000 refugees that have made it to our borders were now housed in camps. They have been living in theater for a number of years, renting apartments. So I just want to that for the precision. They're not housed in camps administered by the UNHCR.
Yeah, can you give me a breakdown? How many from camps and?
I wouldn't be able to tell you the 21,000, how many, but very few came out of camps. Most of the people were already living in the countries where we are operating.
Yeah.
So they're not really refugees. Anyways, the mainstream media just loves doing stories on Trudeau's Syrian refugees to cheerlead them. Here was a beautifully produced video about the Rafia family, who were just dumped in a small town in Atlantic Canada. Lazy husband, that's him there, Mohammed Rafia, who just sat on the porch all day, just smoking and drinking coffee. I mean, he looked lazy to me, but then again, he didn't speak English, and he had no marketable skills. He knew no one. He was clearly miserable. He had no friends, so his wife was miserable too, of course. She tried to make some friends. Anyways, it was a beautiful documentary on the family, just gorgeously shot. And that was published until, one day, look at this, Mohammed Rafia, there he is, was charged and convicted with beating his wife with a hockey stick for half an hour. And he said at court, and I'm not making this up, you can even see this in the headline there, He said that no one had told him you can't beat your wife in Canada. No one told him. And you know what? I believe him, because it would be Islamophobic to tell someone that. Anyways, huge news about Mohammed Rafia when he was a soft focus sob story about a Syrian refugee in a small town in Atlantic Canada. Not a lot of coverage when it was revealed that he beat his wife with a hockey stick for half an hour and it was covered in blood. Yeah, that's not what hockey sticks are for. They're for hockey. I don't know if anyone told you that when you came to Canada. Anyways, well, today's news out of New Brunswick is worse. It's a mother and a father, Syrian migrants, who repeatedly threatened to murder their own daughter for various honor crimes. Now, let me quote a bit from the story. A Syrian refugee couple, upon learning their adult daughter was dating a non-Muslim man in Fredericton, threatened her with an honor killing, court heard Tuesday. Oh, just that. So they'll come to Canada, they'll take our free stuff, our free healthcare, our free welfare, subsidized housing, halal food banks, plain old cash, but their daughter socializing with a Canadian, that's haram, that's forbidden, it's dirty, it's dishonorable. They would murder their own daughter for disgracing them, for fraternizing with Canadians. Yuck, Canadians. Sorry, why did you come to Canada if you hate Canadian people so much? I'll read some more from the story. Crown Prosecutor Claude Haché said Bayan Ayoub reported to Fredericton Police Force in mid-February that her father, Ahmad Ayoub, threatened to kill her on 3 occasions. So Bayan is the daughter you see there. Both mom and dad threatened to murder her again and again. The first time was in April 2016, just 2 months after the family arrived in Canada, court heard, when the father became irate when he discovered Bayan had an iPad she'd won in a contest. He threatened to poison her food at that time, Haché said. Poison, eh? That's Dad of the Year material right there. That's a Trudeau refugee. That's unvetted mass migration from a rape culture that treats women as chattel. That's violence, that's anti-infidel bigotry. We hear the word Islamophobia a lot, but what do you call it when a Syrian migrant hates Canadians so much that he tells his own daughter he'll poison her if she hangs out with Canadians, even chats with them on an iPad? I don't know, what's that, Canada phobia or something? How about just someone who doesn't belong here and doesn't deserve our charity? Maybe he's better fit for Syria after all. They do a lot of that over there. But it wasn't just a heated comment in the moment. It's something he said again and again. Let me quote some more. The next threat came in June and July 2017, he said, when the family learned Bayan had met a non-Muslim man and was communicating with her through social media. Ahmad Ayoub told his daughter, for his own dignity, it would be better to slaughter her than to let her be in such a relationship, the prosecutor said. Yeah, sweet daughter, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for our family. I'm going to murder you because it's better to, quote, slaughter you than to have you be seen with a Canadian man. That's how ISIS does it, by the way. They slaughter their victims, a knife to the throat. Sorry, is this thug a refugee from ISIS or is he a perpetrator? Does Justin Trudeau even know or care? So it started back in 2016 as soon as they came here, and he kept going with the murder threats. Here's an incident from this year, 2018, just a few months ago. Let me quote. The victim also told police her father threatened her on February 13, 2018, when he saw she was receiving messages on her smartphone, court heard, telling her he'd kill her if the messages were from people she'd worked with during a placement at the local food bank. So this girl, I mean, she's an adult, I'll call her a girl because she's a daughter. So this young woman is actually doing something positive, getting out of the house, helping others at a food bank. Seems nice enough. And her putrid father threatens to murder her. Okay, last quote from the story. This is about the mother who was helping the father. What kind of mother would collude in the murder or the threatened murder of her own daughter? How does that murderous instinct trump the maternal instinct? That's honor violence in a rape culture, which is where this thuggish family was imported from. They would kill their own daughter, and the mother would help. Let me quote. Prosecutor Haché said, Bayan Ayoub subsequently told police her father, Fatin Ayoub, called her February 27th to tell police she'd lied about the allegations she'd made about her father, that she was crazy, and to admit herself to hospital. Her mother said if she didn't do it, she would be killed. The prosecutor said Faten Ayoub made the threat in 2 calls, court heard, the second of which was recorded. So it sounds like there was more than 3 threats after all. It sounds like at least 4, maybe more. How many other young Muslim women are threatened by their own parents to recant complaints about abuse to police, whose own parents, whose own mothers call their victimized daughters liars when they reach for help? Well, we know that's exactly what happened in the case of the Shafia family, a quadruple homicide of 3 girls and one of the 2 polygamous wives by these murderers here. So what's the sentence? What's the sentence for this wonderful family in Fredericton? Well, nothing. None. They walked out of court that day, that minute they walked out of court free. They were in pretrial custody for 71 days. I acknowledge that. So that's enough, said the judge. I mean, it's all a big misunderstanding. They literally walked out of court that day. Haché said the court, he asked, let me quote, Haché asked the court to impose 100-day jail terms for both offenders, but since they'd already served 71 days in custody, that means they'd already served their time once the customary remand credit is factored in. So the prosecutor himself only asked for 100 days, which of course would have meant much less after statutory release and parole and all that. 100 days? For repeatedly threatening to murder your own daughter and threatening her not to talk to police. Well, of course, because they're Syrian migrants. And that's how they roll in a rape culture. And you Squaresville Canadians have to get with it. Here's one of the defense lawyers telling New Brunswickers that it's all just a little misunderstanding, like beating your wife with a hockey stick. I mean, they just didn't know. Let me quote. This Lutz character, he's one of the defense lawyers. Lutz noted the charges were the result of cultural differences and the ongoing effort to adjust to life in Canada. Let me read some more. The language used was careless. Hey guys, you got to be careful you don't accidentally threaten to murder your daughter 4 times. The language used was careless in the extreme and bordered on reckless. It wasn't quite reckless, apparently. He told the court, noting, Syrians have a different way of speaking with one another than the customs in Canada. A Syrian could tell someone, I'll stab you, Lutz said, but they don't mean it. Come on, guys, they don't mean it. Don't be so negative. Rain on the parade. It's such a vibrant, diverse culture. They force their women to cover up, or else they condemn them as whores. They condemn local Canadians as dirty. Don't date them. But God, it's just a slip of the tongue. They don't mean it. Here's my favorite line from the story. The atmosphere outside the courtroom following the sentencing was celebratory as family members and friends embraced the couple. You guys are the best. You're the best. Celebratory. They're thrilled and they're laughing at our non-justice system. This is the grossest story I've seen all year. But other than the New Brunswick Daily Gleaner, from which this story comes, and its sister newspaper in Moncton, I have not seen this story anywhere in Canada. Have you? And by the way, you can't even find the story online. I had to subscribe to the paywall of the Daily Gleaner because it was behind a paywall. You can't get this on the internet. Try Googling it. You won't find it. I wonder if that's on purpose, because there's a lot of other stuff that's on the internet for free by the same company. But the court hearing was public. The verdict was public. It was obviously an important and newsworthy case, but not a peep about it anywhere else that I found. I looked exhaustively. It's not on the CBC's New Brunswick homepage. I searched the entire CBC website. You can see the result here if you type in the words. It's not there, at least when I searched it, which was a day after the ruling. Canada's state broadcaster is choosing not to report the story. All the other media are choosing not to report the story. They're choosing to unreport it, to disreport it, to anti-report it. Just like they did when we published a story in 2016, I don't know if you remember, about how Fredericton schools are overrun by violent Syrian migrant kids. And by kids, I mean young men as old as 21, being jammed into high schools with young Canadian girls. The violence, the threats, the Islamic extremism, right there in the schools. Thousands of pages of documents from the schools about the problems that's causing, but the mainstream media refuse to cover it because it's against the narrative. Syrian refugees are poor souls who need our help. The only bad things about Syrian refugees are the Islamophobic racists. And you don't want to be an Islamophobic racist, do you? So shut up. Honor violence, wife beating, threatening daughters, calling Canadians dirty and unclean, 90% unemployment rate 2 years later, no English or French skills, beating a woman for half an hour with a hockey stick bloody. That's all off the media agenda. It's a miracle that the Daily Gleaner even covered it at all. I'm surprised, really, but like I say, they hid it behind the paywall. Say, if this is what they grudgingly cover, how many stories, how many bad, awful stories are there that aren't covered at all? That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch The Daily Show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.